What's up, lovely people? It's your boy Leslie K, and I'm back again with another video. So we are going to spend today's session discussing the setup we have right behind me, and rabbit farming. A beginner's guide to rabbit farming in Africa in 2022. So it's going to be a little bit long. It's going to be a series of videos discussing rabbit farming and why we can venture, or we should decide to venture into rabbit farming. There are a lot of alternative farming options. We could do poultry, we could do like other livestock. So why we will decide to enter into rabbit farming? I'm going to discuss the breeding, the feeding, medication, marketing and sales, a couple of other things. So it's going to be a longer series, or it's going to be a long series, but I'm going to spend today's session talking about why rabbit farming, why we should enter into rabbit farming. So if you are watching this video now, I'm sure you've probably thought one way or the other about how to start a rabbit farm or how to enter into rabbit farming, or you're probably considering which of the farming options to take, whether to do the other ones. Okay, so why would I advise or recommend rabbit farming to anyone to do, or anybody who wants to venture into agric, specifically animal farming, to do? Okay, so rabbit farming, it doesn't matter the location or where you stay, you could actually start a rabbit farming business. And there are certain farms or animal farms that, because of the noise that these animals produce, you can't have them in an urban setting. So you usually do the farming in a village, okay, or somewhere that's away from the city a little bit, so that the noise, the smell that comes from the farm and all those things are minimized. But when it comes to rabbits, you don't have any such issue. You don't have issues with noise, you don't have issues with smelling farm or anything like that. So irrespective of your location, you could venture into rabbit farming. Secondly, space, the availability of space. So when we take rabbit farming into consideration, we require lesser space to start up. Okay, we require lesser space to start up. So you could have your backyard, you could have very small space, and you could fit a cage that will help you or enable you to take off 5 to 10 rabbits or even 20 rabbits. So there are ways of building the cage. As you can see with the one behind me, it has a dimension of 60 by 60 and then 50 with the height. So there are ways of building the cage so that you adjust it to fit whatever space you have, and then with limited space you could start your rabbit business. With limited space, you could start your rabbit business. So they require very small space. Irrespective of your location, you could start and then get some rabbits going. Also, another reason why you could enter into rabbit farming is cost of feeding or feeding options. So usually when you start your rabbit farm and the number of rabbits you have aren't much, you're not going to be incurring much costs. Okay, because rabbits are naturally herbivores, and with herbivores you could get different grasses that you could feed to your rabbits. You could as well get kitchen leftovers to feed to your rabbits. You could as well get farm produce like leftovers. Cabbage is not something we give to rabbits often, but you could get the waste from those who sell cabbage and then feed your rabbits with that. You could get carrots, you could get a lot of other vegetables you could feed to rabbits. You could get cassava peels, you could get yam peels, sweet potato peels, watermelon, pawpaw peels. Like, there are lots of available options for you when it comes to feeding rabbits, especially when you do not have a large farm, when the number of rabbits you have are sizable. Okay, that's also another reason why you could consider rabbit farming. Another point why you could enter into rabbit farming, or I feel I'm recommending rabbit farming to you, is the cost involved in starting up. So compared to other farm options or other farming options, the cost involved in starting a rabbitry is relatively easy, usually depending on how many rabbits you are starting with or how fast you want to grow. So if you are starting with a few rabbits, I usually recommend 5. Last one back and then 4 those. You could spend, let's say, 1,000 cedis or less, depending on whether you buy your cage or you build the cage yourself. Not necessarily you building, but you could get a carpenter to build a cage for you at a cheaper cost. Starting and then buying a cage is sometimes not advisable because of the high cost of already made cages. You could get some for 1,400 cedis to 2,000. So that elevates the cost of starting a little bit because the structure is very important, but it's usually around 12 compartments. So if you start with 5 rabbits, within the shortest possible time, you could fill the other cages. So 1,004 to 1,006 for an already made cage. If you are going to construct a cage yourself, get a carpenter to do it based on the specifications I am going to give as we go along in the video. Based on the specifications I am going to give as we go along the video, as I said, 60 centimeters by 60 centimeters, 60 centimeters by 60 centimeters, and then the height you could do 40 centimeters or 50 centimeters depending on the availability of space. So that's it. You could get a carpenter to do it for you at a cheaper cost, and then you save money. If you have the 1,004 to 1,006 or 1,004 to 2,000 cedis that you could part way with, and then get a 12 compartment cage at a go, you could as well do that. So these are factors we actually have to consider, okay, or these are things we have to look at if we want to enter into rabbit farming. And I think it's quite cool because when it comes to medications too, it's not expensive treating rabbits. Okay, it's not expensive treating rabbits. You need a couple of drugs. If you are not going to do the organic way, you need a couple of drugs. Usually the one that caters for coccidiosis, we know coccidiosis affects poultry as well. Usually the one that caters for coccidiosis, we need a little bit of multivitamins so that the stress the rabbits go through day in and day out, we actually help them come out of that stress and then grow the way they grow. We could get dewormers. I usually use pawpaw leaves for deworming, and even for the coccidiosis, people have suggested bitter leaf and then Tridax. Okay, so there are other very cheap options you could look at. And then rabbits are very prolific. So when it comes to reproduction, in my opinion, I think rabbits are the fastest producing animals we have. Okay, if I'm wrong, somebody could correct me. But in the wild, we are going to use the wild system here. But in the wild, when a rabbit is pregnant, it's a gestation period of 1 month, exactly 1 month, which is in days, it's 28 to 31 days. Now, if a rabbit gives birth in the wild, it's usually around 4 bunnies. Wild rabbits usually give birth to around 4. And then on the same day it's giving birth, it could get crossed and then give birth again. So rabbits actually come on heat. Rabbits have a heat cycle, right? But they actually come on heat or ovulate when the female is introduced to the male. So at any point in time, depending on your breeding cycle, you could mate your rabbits. Okay, so when it comes to their ability to give birth or their prolificacy, rabbits, I think, in my opinion, are the best. So you could increase the number of rabbits you have within the shortest possible time, and their feed conversion rate is very good. So it depends on what you're actually using or keeping rabbits for. So there are 4 main options or 4 main reasons why people go into rabbit farming. Some people will farm purposely or people will keep rabbits because they want to keep them as pets. So that one, they are not even considering reproduction or duplicating the numbers. There are people who do rabbits for fur. I don't think that's our part of the world. There are people who do rabbits for meat. That's me and a lot of farmers in Ghana and Africa as a whole. And then lastly, there are people who do rabbit farming for the wool. So there are rabbits like the Angora rabbit, which was created or is purposely bred for the wool it produces. So these are the options available for anyone who wants to enter or venture into rabbit farming. Meat, pets, pets first, meat, wool, and fur. So these are the options available for each and every one of us or anybody who wants to venture into rabbit farming. So these are the factors or the reasons why I think you could enter into rabbit farming. It's actually an easy thing to start. The cost of entering is the barriers to entry are limited. The cost of entry is very low, and you could use limited space irrespective of your location. You could start the rabbit farm, and it's actually easy to learn. And if you get your medications right, your rabbits will hardly fall sick or die. So these are the things we could consider if we want to venture into rabbit farming. We are going to have our subsequent episodes, and we'll talk more into details on the farming aspects, the other farming aspects, construction, cage construction, breed selection, feeding rabbits, marketing rabbits, selling rabbits, medications, and a whole lot of other options or the details available for us to actually know as we consider our journey. So stay tuned for my next video post. If today is your first time on my channel, hit the subscribe button, like this video, and then share, and lastly turn on my notifications. Thank you, and I'm out. Enjoy the rest of your day.